Second. You guys all ready?
Ready?
Ready.
Josh?
Ready.
Brandon, you ready? Good evening. I call to order a special meeting of Town of Holly Ridge on February 19, 2026 at 6 p.m. Thanks for those who are here and those who are watching online. We are blessed to have Pastor Bobby Owens from the Gathering Church here to do our invocation. Thanks, Pastor Owens. The floor is yours.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Council. We're going to bow and give thanks. So I'm going to ask you to join me. Our Father, tonight we thank you and we praise you again for the opportunity we have to just be community. Community, as I've said before, is not government, it's not council, it's not buildings, it's people. And so I thank you for this community, and I thank you for the way that you've blessed us, particularly in this location. We ask, God, that you'd be with us tonight. God, help us to remember that as we come together, that, God, your admonition for us all is that we love one another. So, God, help us to do that, and as the council considers important things, as they consider this particular project that's on hand, we pray, God, you give them wisdom, give them direction. I thank you for the people that have come tonight, the great crowd that's here. Pray, God, that you just give us all wisdom so that we might know and we might understand those things that, God, bring you glory, bring you honor, because that's what we're supposed to do. So, God, we pray you'd be in this place tonight and give us your peace, and we pray it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That we should sing American Beauty.
Okay, we are going to go to item number 3. May I have a motion to approve adopt the agenda? Motion by Councilman Hines.
Second.
Second by Councilman Masiano. Any discussions? How do you vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, the agenda is approved. All right, the first item is consideration of possible action to adopt the public hearing procedures from Hollywood Development Group LLC. So I'm going to ask the town manager, please go over procedures before we vote on it.
Thank you, Mayor. So tonight we'll have a little bit of a different procedure for public hearings if the council chooses to adopt this procedure. Each of the 4 public hearings will have a public comment period with an allotted time of 1 hour. Large groups should plan accordingly by appointing a spokesperson. The time limits will be strictly enforced without exception. Attendees will not be allowed to speak from the audience, nor will they disrupt the meeting. Persons wishing to speak must sign up with their name and address. And we do have 4 written public comments that we will read once the public hearing's over, so that it does not take away from the 60 minutes.
Is that it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, in your packet, the council, you have the procedures in the back. So may I have the motion to adopt the procedure?
Motion.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Hall. Second by Councilman Hines. Any discussion?
Can I ask a question? Who, is this from your suggestion or the mayor's suggestion? Where does this come from?
It was a conglomerate between the mayor, the attorney, and I.
My fear is that since this topic is so popular and so crucial to the community, that I don't want to put any time limits and stymie any type of First Amendment rights for everyone to speak. This has never been done, but because this is such a hot topic that we feel the need to change the procedures. So I don't think it's a good idea to change any type of procedures. If it takes longer than an hour per public hearing, then so be it, because we've had meetings that have been 5-6 hours long, if I do recall. Most of you leave by then, but we're still here. But I want all your voices heard, so I'm a hard no on this.
No. No.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Okay, the procedures are adopted. Okay, I'm going to ask respectfully of the audience, please. We are trying to have a quorum here, and we are trying to have a procedure that can work so we can continue with the meeting. This continues, it's just not going to be acceptable. So please, I'm asking you to respect the process of having this meeting. Thank you. Okay, I'm just making a quick comment. Thank you all for being here. We have a lot to discuss, and I won't take any more time. I just want you to respect the procedures. I respectfully ask the audience not to be disruptive. All right, going to item 6, which is the first item, public hearing. This is the discussion of possible approval of a request by Holly Ridge Development Group, LLC, voluntary satellite annexation on Onslow County, parcel number 02787, 001971, 011593, and Pender County parcel number 4227-56, 5933-000, considering the approximately 1,226 acres. Just a comment before we go to public hearing. We just heard from Pender County. They have a conflict that they cannot be here, but they've been aware of this, and we have had several meetings with them, and they have no objections to this. So may I have a motion to... I'm going to ask you again, please. Please. Okay?
Mayor, their objection, is there objection in writing, Pender County, or was it a phone call today? What was their objection?
It was a phone call, and there were no objections.
Can you tell me who spoke to?
I just spoke with the county manager by text.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. May I have a motion to go to public hearing?
Motion.
Motion by Councilor Mastriano.
Second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem Hall. And any more discussions? How do you vote?
Yes.
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 Okay, we are in public hearing, and at this point, I'm going to ask our town manager, Heather Reynolds, to basically be master of ceremonies for public comments. So you have the floor, Heather.
Mayor, would you like the presentation to take place before the public comment?
Yeah, if you could set, it's up to you.
Okay.
We can go to public comments now. You want to, but
Presentation.
yeah, go over the process.
Okay.
Nate, you're up. Oh, boy.
Nate, do you have a presentation for this portion? Okay.
Okay, so. right.
So I'll just give background.
Okay,
Just to cover, so the request was made by Holly Ridge Development Group, LLC, for voluntary annexation of Onslow County parcel numbers 027857, 001971, 011593, and Pender County parcel number 4227, 56, 5933, 0000. These parcels consist of approximately 1,226 acres. The planning board on the 17th recommended approval of the rezoning. They did not consider the annexation nor the development agreement.
okay, the public hearing is open. You have a list of that have signed up, please.
Bud Taylor? Please state your name and address for the record.
Bud Taylor, 288 Nine Stump Sound Church Road. Mayor and members of council, this annexation votes a financial commitment the town cannot easily unwind. In the Excel worksheet provided by staff, projected property tax revenue from this development is shown alongside structured staffing increases required to support the growth. By the town's own projections, nearly all and in some scenarios essentially the entirety of the anticipated annual property tax revenue is absorbed by staffing costs alone. That's before accounting for road maintenance and resurfacing cycles, stormwater system maintenance, capital replacement, fleet replacement, equipment depreciation, inflation in public safety compensation, long-term infrastructure repair obligations, et cetera, et cetera. If property tax revenue is largely consumed just to fund additional staff, then where's the margin that pays for everything else? Growth does not automatically create surplus. It creates obligations. At 2,750 units, even conservative per-unit service costs scale into multi-million-dollar recurring commitments. Those costs increase over time. Infrastructure does not last forever. Staffing costs do not stay flat. The spreadsheet models staffing expansions. It does not fully model long-term capital replacement risk across decades. If revenue and operating costs are nearly equal at the outset, then the fiscal buffer is thin from day one. Annexation transfers permanent service responsibility to this town. That responsibility does not disappear if assumptions change, valuations flattens, or costs rise faster than projected. That is not about being anti-growth. It's about ensuring that growth does not place future councils and citizens in a structurally constrained fiscal position. If the town's own projections show property tax revenue nearly consumed by staffing alone, then approving annexation without stronger fiscal guardrails comes real long-term risk. This decision deserves a conservative standard. Thank you.
So I have two signed up in the same block, Larry and Christine Engelbert. I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. Is there one or the other that would like to speak?
I think they got it assignment.
Okay, so they don't, are they here?
Yes, they're here.
Is that you, ma'am? Okay, so you don't wish to speak? Okay. Carol Manning?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for letting me speak real quick. I'm Carol Manning, 136 Dolph Everett Road, Holly Ridge.
Please get closer to the mic, maybe.
Carol Manning, 136 Dolph Everett Road in Holly Ridge. I'm a resident here with specific knowledge of the area, and I have three major concerns. And one is the infrastructure impact. For example, our schools are already at maximum capacity, and I feel with building more units could be approximately way too much strain on the current situation and infrastructure that we have. I also feel worried that in the infrastructure, the town water is not a good situation, as what happened with the J&J snack fire. We ran out of water. And I think more people using more water is going to cost more. And in that comes the, I'm sorry, I'm nervous. Insufficient service for police, fire, and school buses, as they will be overtaxed, and it's going to cost us more to get more. Maybe in the long run you see making money off this, but in the interim right now, there's just not enough. And also the traffic concerns. We know how it gets here in the summertime. The roads are bad, and the road conditions are bad. In my house, there's constant potholes going up and down my road. You just can't avoid them, and it's going to wear and tear on your car. So just in conclusion, as a personal point of view, I feel the loss of our agriculture and environment and the serenity of having a small town, we're going to lose it. Or we can't lose it if you all take proper action. Monitor it. Do the right thing. Thank you.
Ann Sakatis, and I know I said it wrong again. I do apologize. Sakaitis.
Ann Sakaitis. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak tonight. First, I would like to address an issue that... I'm sorry, may I have your address, please? 137 Spicer Lake. Yes. First, I would like to address an issue that happened at last week's public forum. I submitted a written question directly to Mr. Rakowski asking if the council members who are real estate brokers or who have working relationships with these brokers should recuse themselves from annexation. While the previously written questions were read by the town clerk, for some reason, the answer to my question was answered by the lawyer. This question was directed directly to Mr. Rakowski. The lawyer chose to censor my words and my question and answer for him. That is not transparency. That worries me a lot. Second, I am concerned about the potential contamination of the old Camp Davis properties. Portions of this land are delineated on the national priorities list as part of the EPA's Superfund program, which identifies the most serious hazardous waste sites regarding long-term cleanup. Ooh, hold on, I made it too big. Long-term cleanup. Given that Camp Davis was a satellite facility of the Marine Corps Base, Camp Lejeune, which was placed on the NPL list in 1989, planning a community on this site is alarming. I do not understand why the town would voluntarily annex this property, especially considering the environmental issues that remain unresolved at the Holly Ridge Apartments. I have contacted Administrator Zeldin at the EPA and the Brockovich.com Consumer Advocacy Group regarding this issue. Thank you. As the Brockovich website states, Superman is not coming. It is up to us, the residents of Holly Ridge, to hold you accountable for the decisions you make about what is going to happen to our town. For the record, I have two final questions. Are you certain that the land and water are not contaminated? Furthermore, who has the responsibility for if these contaminated show up in 5 to 10 years and they're discovered and cause health issues? For the record, I think you should think about that. I urge the council to say no to this annexation. Thank you.
Flonnie Woolenwaber.
Hello, I am Flonnie Woolen-Waber, and I am at 402 Caroline Sanders Way. And before I get started, I have seen it so many times on Facebook that these people spoke in November's election. The people did speak, but they spoke for you in office and for you to have the best interest of our citizens of Holly Ridge. They didn't necessarily speak on approving the annexation. This is not simply a development decision. It's a decades-long financial obligation you're about to place on every taxpayer in this room. Mayor and council members bringing 2,750 homes or more into a town with just over 5,800 residents would increase our population by more than twofold, introducing nearly 7,000 new people. That is not routine growth. That is structural transformation. My concern tonight is fiscal responsibility. This decision commits this town to decades of infrastructure maintenance, increased staffing, pension liabilities, capital replacement, and potential debt exposure. Those costs do not end after construction. They compound. Where is the independent conservative fiscal impact analysis for us all to view? Not year one projections, not best case assumptions. What does this look like over 50 years? What will it cost to expand and maintain roads? What will water and sewer upgrades require, and who absorbs the overruns? How many additional firefighters, EMS personnel, law enforcement officers, and public works staff will be required? And how will their long-term salaries and retirement obligations be funded? If commercial growth is limited, which we're having issues with that now, with one commercial industry, residential taxpayers become the financial backstop. Growth that is not fully funded does not create opportunity. It transfers the risk to the taxpayers. Mayor and council members, you have a fiduciary duty to protect this town's financial stability. If the long-term numbers do not clearly show that this growth pays for itself conservatively, not optimistically, then approving it is not forward thinking. It is gambling with other people's money, our taxpayers' money. If you cannot show this community the documented numbers that protect us from long-term financial harm as taxpayers, then the only responsible vote is no.
Liz Sadler.
Good evening, council members, and thanks for the opportunity to comment. My name is Liz Sadler. I live at 1071 East Ocean Road, Holly Ridge. I think it would be beneficial to the interested parties to see on projected screens the town's formal short and long-term studies of the financial feasibility or impact on the taxpayers of Holly Ridge. Will this development on this annexed property be a continual burden to the taxpayers? Will the operating costs to fulfill the town's obligations in the annexed area supersede the projected property taxes that will come in as revenue? In other words, will the town's budgets in the short and long term have shortfalls that will end up in rising taxes on residents? And how significant will those increases be? What percentage of increases will be levied on the town's residents? Or will there be a budget surplus and commensurate decrease in taxes? The public, the taxpayers, I think deserve to have that information, and council needs to make beneficial to the town decisions on whether or not they should take on the obligations of the annexation. Maybe there should be an attempt first to secure a commercial development that would offset shortfalls, assuming there would be shortfalls. For guidance and comparison, we have two previous annexations that have developments on them, neighborhoods of Holly Ridge and Summer House. Are their tax revenues greater or less than the costs of operation in those two annexed areas? I think that would be possibly a good thing to see. Thank you.
If I may ask the audience, please wait until the speaker is done before you applause.
Let them finish.
Carolyn
Just to move
Sweeney.
it's just to move this along and hear everybody. We want to hear everybody.
Good evening. My name is Carolyn Sweeney, and I live at 391 Summer House Drive. Thank you for the opportunity of having me speak tonight. And I'd like to make a clarification. It's been suggested that there's a strong mandate for this level of growth, but that's not really accurate. About 900 people voted in the election, and roughly 63% of them supported the agenda. In a town of about 5,700 residents, that means a large number of people did not vote at all. And not voting is not the same as supporting the plan. I beg this council not to approve this annexation. Summer House is supporting 35% of the tax base. Summer House has been referred to as you people, that group, the bikini people, even though that we do 35% of the tax base. The people of Summer House only want what's best for this community. We're not against growth. We're not against public meetings that propose all of this. But why is it that 5,700 residents have to depend on 4 or 5 people to tell us what we need and what we don't need? This annexation is going to prove to be a real problem for those of us that live in Holly Ridge. I am a widow on a fixed income that if my taxes go up any further, I'm not going to be able to live in Holly Ridge any longer. And I'm not the only one that has suggested that the tax rate is going to go up, even though we've been told it's not, but it is. I started a petition just a few months ago, and on that petition against this annexation, there's over 1,200 people that are against it. Now, if 1,200 people sign a petition, doesn't that even resonate to how you think about how we feel about this annexation? It's not that we don't want it, we just need a little bit more time to think about it. Thank you.
April Altieri.
Hi, April Altieri, 100 Whispering Pine Lane. And I just have a couple of statements and a couple of questions. So the first question is, have you all already made up your mind? Is this just smoke and mirrors? The second question is, Pete, I'm not singling you out because you are the mayor. So you want order when we're being disruptive, but when they're being disruptive, you say not a word. She has stood here 2 meetings in a row and laughed openly at Carolyn Sweeney. I'm about ready to whip her butt.
Please.
Okay, we need to have order.
Please, order. Please, order.
Sit down.
Brittany. Yes.
I ain't far neither. I ain't afraid of you.
Stop.
Ma'am, this is just your comments to the council, please.
So those are my concerns. And I would like for you all who approve this annex to state that you are taking responsibility for the environmental piece of it, specifically the water and the ground. That's it.
Thank you.
Stop.
Okay, this next one, again, 2 people signed, Tanya and Richard Betts. Would either one like to speak? Okay. And I'm next. Okay, so you are Kendra Lewis? Yeah. Okay, thank you. The next one is Donna Wester. Okay. Next, Dorothy Royal.
First, I'd like to say for the record, this is an amazing turnout, and I want to thank everybody who showed up. It's beautiful. Beautiful to see this many people get involved. Good evening. My name is Dorothy Royal, 2101 Victory Lap Lane in Holly Ridge. Several times in the last few meetings, the developer has stated that this development will proceed even if this property is not annexed into Holly Ridge. I think that's wonderful. And I think all of you sitting on the council should take that to mean that this project can be put off to a much later date. There is no reason at all to annex this property today. The developer, as we know, currently does not own the land in question. At the planning board meeting the other night, Nathan Rue stated that the planning board was only to consider the rezoning recommendation and PUD approval if the developer does purchase the land and if the town decides to annex the property. That's a lot of ifs. And in all reality, that's putting the cart before the horse. The developer keeps telling us that based on his time frame, it'd be 2 to 3 years before the first toilet would be flushed. So what is the rush? How about we allow the developer to present his plan to the county and the state and take all the proper steps to get this development under construction before annexation is considered. If the developer or his assigns does not purchase the land, or does purchase the land, that should give Onwassa millions of dollars of revenue to construct one, if not two, water towers in Holly Ridge. We need water pressure now, before any more developments are built. I'm sure several of you were impacted by the lack of water pressure for 2 days last week after the unfortunate accident of an overabundance of chemicals mistakenly added to our drinking water. Sneed's Ferry and North Topsail Beach were notified of this massive dose of chemicals, but oddly not Holly Ridge. How strange is that? I am not against construction of homes. I am not against construction of homes. I am against this community committing to such a massive project that is not even owned by the developer. And am I wrong to think that if the developer does not purchase this land, that Onwassa has no interest in annexing this land into Holly Ridge? Maybe we should consider that. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Taryn Carranza, I'm sorry.
Good evening, Council. My name's Taryn, and I live at 117 Katrina Street in Sneed's Ferry. I want to speak briefly about sequencing rather than opposition. While the legacy landfill tract itself may not be part of the annexation area, the property proposed for annexation is in proximity to the pre-regulatory landfill area and the PFAS site 111 located across the Highway 50 on the airstrip. Municipal water wells are located within approximately 1,000 feet of the landfill approximated site. As of today, there's been no written confirmation publicly provided that these legacy conditions have been evaluated under modern environmental standards, specifically in relation to the municipal well field, our Onwassa drinking water wells. I requested clarification prior to tonight's vote from the environmental consultant, CG, Southern Environmental Group, and as well as DEQ, and have not received written confirmation from either of those entities, the Brownsfield, the Pre-Regulatory Landfill Department, or the environmental consultants at CG. Annexation is the step that transfers long-term municipal responsibility for services and water infrastructure to the town. And I'm simply asking that that environmental verification occur before the responsibility is assumed. Thank you.
Lynn Spoonholes, I'm sorry. Sponholes.
Name is Lynn Sponholes. I am at 221 Everett Park Trail, Holly Ridge. First off, I hate politics. I hate having to be here. But I really hate the fact that something is going to be rammed through against the people who really live in this area. We are all transplants. That's not the issue. The issue is we don't have answers to the questions. The questions are roads. We have sinkholes in Summer House that we are having problems getting filled. Now we're going to add doubling in terms of the number of roads that we would be responsible for in our taxes, as well as time, as well as staffing, and all of the rest. There is no plan to expand the school system, which blows my mind. We're going to double the number of residents and don't have a school plan in place? That blows my mind. Then we'll go into EMS. We had a gentleman die 2 weeks ago during a snowstorm. Excuse me? Well, yep. we had a gentleman die because EMS couldn't get to him. Would that have made a difference? I don't know. But I can tell you, if we double the number of people that are getting these services, we are not going to have a better time getting people to an emergency and to have the staffing to be able to do that. Fire, same situation. We don't have enough water pressure to take a shower, much less being able to fight a fire. I don't think we want to take our poor fire chief and make him have to, use a hose and a bucket. We need to make sure that we have this infrastructure in place. Same thing with police. And you've heard me talk before about my blessed left-hand turns just trying to get onto 17. I mean, you could spend 20 minutes unless you go down through and get out onto 50. Sometimes even just trying to make a right-hand turn onto 50 is a mess. You're going to double the number of people, perhaps triple the number of people that are trying to make these same kind of things with no plan in place to expand out the road system or traffic plant patterns or anything. We have heard no information. Every time the developer spoke, oh, well, I'm not a numbers guy, except the things that really counted to him. The things that counted to him was, we don't have to worry about anybody having a conflict of interest, and Holly Ridge is going to have to pay for it regardless of whether we get annexation or not. I think that is where my question is. We've got a timeline. The timeline at best is squishy. Sometimes it's a year, sometimes it's 2 years, sometimes it's 5 years. But suddenly we're going to expand into a 50-year. None of you guys are going to be here. None of you guys are going to have anything to do with it at that point. But we, the citizens, are. Now I'm going to have to back that up because I probably won't be here either. But that's beside the point. I'm almost 70, yeah. Okay, but I'll hang around and I'll haunt you, okay? My questions to you. What are the benefits to the current residents of Holly Ridge for this land to be annexed and developed? That is my big question. If I could get a decent answer to that, I would consider it. I do know that growth is inevitable. That's not the point. The point is growth when we don't know what the costs are going to be or what the long-term plan is. If I saw a long-term plan that left me comfortable with the fact that my taxes are not going to triple over the next 10 years, I might be more willing to consider it. But right now, I would ask sincerely that all of you vote no to this current situation, back up 10 yards, punt, go and find the information that we keep asking for, get us data, tell us whether that land has been fully checked out in terms of contamination. I don't think me looking at it is going to make a difference as to whether it's contaminated or not. I read all of those freaking documents. Do you have any idea how much of my time I want back? I read all of those things and saw nothing that convinced me that this was a good idea. So I would really like you to be able to explain that to us if you vote in the positive. If you don't, we would like you to put it aside, get information, come back to us with that information, and you might find a much happier group of people. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Adam Culliver.
Say the name again. I don't think they heard you. Thank you.
Adam Culliver. It may be Cavalier. Okay, here we go. Is it Culliver or Cavalier?
Cavalier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's okay. I've only met one person who can say it right. My name is Adam Cavalier. I live at 113 Mardella Way. I will be here for the 50-year development plan. So, I have a 4 and a 5-year-old. Where are they going to go to school if this comes about? There's been no. We've known about this since what? November, the summer of last year. Where's been the plan from the town to increase revenue? Where's that been? Why haven't we been bringing in businesses before then? We've had opportunities in the past to bring in businesses, and they've been shot down by members of this council. Sorry, I'm speaking from the heart. If this goes through and it falls apart, I'm gonna be left with the burden, and I'm gonna have to move away from this town. A 300% increase on taxes, because the town hasn't put anything else out. So safehelp.org, that website that's been posting, a 300% increase on taxes. I'm not gonna be able to afford that. I have 2 children. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I hope to God you guys vote fucking no on this.
Maria McCarthy.
My wife and I signed up to support, but the prior speakers have made some excellent points, and we don't need to add to that, so we do support those people.
Ken Bradshaw.
Supposed to still be going down?
That's how many hours, that's how much of the hour we have left.
I missed you, Ken. I haven't seen you in a while.
Ken Bradshaw, 134 Beacon Woods Drive, Holly Ridge, North Carolina. Nice to see you all. Haven't been here for a while. And I'll tell you, it's nice to see a turnout here like this. I mean, wasn't too many years ago, I was coming to meetings and finding 6 people, 4 people. Now we got a whole room full of people that don't look too happy to me. We already spoke about living in a van by the river, okay? I don't know. I mean, I'm looking, still, but I don't see. I'm seeing these people here with pussies on their faces, not happy. Obviously, I didn't spend my whole life here. I've been here for 10 years, but long enough to have an idea of what's going on around here. I mean, I live on Camp Davis. My nose hasn't stopped running since the day I moved in. I got a tissue in my hand. Something's wrong. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I notice people digging around to try to find out what it is. I don't understand the rush. We're busting at the seams as far as our infrastructure goes, and I don't really see the rush to go and add 2,000 homes. I'm hearing, I'm not the numbers guy, okay? But I'm hearing like 2,000 homes, maybe 2 people in each home. Who knows? Maybe by then 5 people in each home. I don't know. That's a lot of people. We got 1 traffic light that seems to have an accident every day. Every day, okay? Anyway, I just would have felt amiss if I didn't speak. I think I'm getting better at it too, but anyway, thanks for having me.
Okay, we are 40 minutes into this. We have 1 hour max. If anybody else would like to come up, I know Councilman Patty said 1 hour is not enough, so please, it's open. The floor is open for anybody that wants to come up. Please come up.
Okay, I was the recipient.
Could you state your name and your address, please?
Christine Engelbert, 328 Lake Firefly Loop, Holly Ridge. My husband and I were recipients of affordable housing because we put ourselves through college. We both have 5 years plus, so we needed affordable housing. We are not against that kind of housing, workforce, whatever you call it, but I, as a teacher and a mama and a grandma, I am definitely opposed to you building on possibly contaminated land. And for the record, everybody listen to this, if you build on contaminated land, blood is going to be on all of your hands. On your hands, because my friend and I, and probably a lot of people, are from Long Island, New York, where they had a lot of contaminated land, and you don't even know the cancer numbers. So if you go ahead and you rely on that developer to tell you the land is fine, well, don't go by that. We need to find out that that land is fine. Don't go by the developer, because what does he have in the stake for that? What's in stake for him? Seriously, just for the record, I know who voted yes and I know who voted no. And it will be on in your heart and in your head when those little babies that grow up over there get cancer. God forbid. It has to be done right. And I've said that all the time. Just go slow. Do what you have to do. Go slow. We're not against affordable housing, workforce housing, or lots of housing, but it has to be done right. What's the rush? That's it.
Joanne Soa, 131 Everett Park Trail, and thank you all for listening to our voices. And I really hope you're listening. I hope you're not up there with your minds made up. That really would be important to all of us to know what we're saying here matters. It really matters. I would encourage everyone here, anyone who has concerns about the fiscal situation and taxes, to be very, very, very concerned. If you take a look on the Holly Ridge budget from approximately 2018 until now, they have seen a huge increase in property tax revenues, and a good portion of that has come from Summer House. Summer House is a community that doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't cost you anything. We take care of our roads, they take care of our streetlights. We don't really get police services other than an occasional drive-through. And the majority of the residential increase in Holly Ridge has come from Summer House, and the increase in the tax revenues from approximately, about 600,000 to over 3 million. And it hasn't cost you anything. This place you're going to build is going to cost you a whole bunch. So you've hired all kinds of people, and you spent all kinds of money with, how much was the deficit last year? Maybe $1 million. And if you can't manage the money you have now with communities requiring very little services, how are you going to manage the community that's going to cost all kinds of money? So your taxes are going to be growing exponentially. And so I would recommend anybody in here who has any kind of concern, there's 19 minutes left, get up here and speak your mind. Don't be afraid, because please stop and really think about this development. It is not time to pull the plugs on this fiscally until we get the house in order that we currently have.
John?
Good evening. My name is John Stebline. I live at 252 Twining Rose Lane. I sat back the past couple days and looked at all the correspondence, looked at all the documents, and after recent correspondence from the mayor, it is evident that the Holly Ridge Council fully intends to pass and annex and fast-track the developmental agreement. We can see it here tonight. We got a document here this past week which stated such. This council has an obligation and a responsibility to ensure that any proposed agreement meets the needs of this community, first and foremost. The current document, as stated, does not, well, let me take this back. When Camp Davis closed, there were few, if any, environmental regulations to monitor the safe handling and disposal of toxic materials. We know that. This took place in the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s. The United States government closure of military installation has traditionally left the path of environmental skeletons and disasters for the community to clean up. And we're pushing this. We are pushing this 110% to move this tonight and put the blood, one lady said it correctly, the blood on our children and their children as we move forward. I'm 68 years old. 50 years from now, when this thing comes to fruition, who knows when this ground is going to seep? I lived Love Canal in Western New York. Lois Gibbs and Love Canal. Those kids were deformed, people died, and at the expense of what? So you can fast track an environmental and not do your homework? Not do your environmental homework. So you can fast track a development. The development will come when the growth comes, when Hampstead pushes this way, when Sneed's Ferry pushes this way. It doesn't have to be forced on the people of this community.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Viorel Verka. I put my name on the list, but perhaps it was too hard to pronounce. I drove here from Raleigh tonight. I have a vacation home here and a few rentals. And to me, the news about the tax increase reminded me of Detroit. If you don't know the story of Detroit, it was a meeting like this that got the city into the bankruptcy. So the cost of living in Holly Ridge is about 6% higher than the US national average. Since last year, my expenses in here are 50% higher, tax, insurance, and everything else. Regional Science of Urban Economics, Volume 100 from May 2023 says, property tax increases directly reduce small business sustainability by raising operating costs for owners and driving up rents for tenants, often forcing higher prices for consumers and reduced wages. These hikes can trigger a domino effect, reducing profit margin, discouraging new businesses, startups, and threatening the viability of existing small-scale operations. Forbes says that rent can consume up to 42% of consumers' pre-tax income. Airbnb and VRBO says that in here we have already 1,848 properties for rent in Holly Ridge. Zillow says the median rent is $1,750. New tax would be perhaps out of $3,000. If the city imposes 300% increase, it would make it out of range for most renters. Here is another one. Increased property taxes disproportionately harm the ill, elderly, low-income residents, often forcing them to choose between paying taxes and affording medical care or necessity. Tax hikes can lead to displacement, loss of home equity. Onwell, another source, says North Carolina tax state median 0.83. So I have in here a tax bill of $2,135, and the national is $2,400. Holly Ridge home value plays into this because the median tax value of house in Holly Ridge is $252,000 and change. Insurance is about 1.3 of that. So everybody who has a average house is paying about $3,000 in that. Now that's combined liability, wind and hail. So there are only few mobile homes at that value anymore. The house prices are high, and 90% result will be $189 per $100, which will make tax only $4,800. With insurance, another $3,285 would bring it close to $8,100 and something. So let's look at the other part, the mortgage. Mortgage at 6% for 30 years with 5% down, it's roughly $2,500. But newer houses are going to be most expensive. The houses that are going to be built in here are not going to be $250,000. I assume they are going to be 4, 5, 6, maybe $1 million. When you add to that electricity, water, sewer, waste, phone. So I was wondering why. And I see that there is no industry in Holly Ridge, no malls, no beachfront, no parking at the beach, long ways to cross on the island, short summer season. And also in the year 2025, 25% of all houses in Holly Ridge were vacant. They were not occupied. So what is the effect going to be? And this is my opinion. based on all the data that everybody else is showing. So expensive to own. People are going to have hard time buying these properties no matter how nice they are. There would be more empty houses. The houses that are on the market would be harder to sell. The value will decrease. Outsiders won't come as expected because, as I said, short summers, crowd, no parking at the beach. And the beach does not belong to Holly Ridge. It belongs to Surf City, so we cannot build our future on somebody else's property. Many locals will be forced to leave. Low-income people will be driven out, bankrupt. They would trade housing for food and healthcare. Increase in home prices. Services will double, and some businesses will close. Unbearable congestion, especially toward the island. Noise increase. Not enough parking. So these are my opinions, and I have to oppose this tax increase because I would have to sell my houses and go somewhere else. Thank you, everyone.
Sir, if you could step over here.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Yes.
Hold on just a second. All right, go ahead, sir.
Yes, my name is Kobe Ranquist. I live at 322 Lightning Bug Lane in Holly Ridge. One of the things I did this morning is I was looking at this and saw the new draft 4 drop of the agreement is we're voting, did you guys have early access to draft 4? Would be one question. Has that been adequately reviewed versus draft 3 versus draft 2? Because draft 2 days. Yes, draft 4 was dropped this morning, or at least it was publicly made available or publicly aware of it this morning. I don't know when it actually dropped, but draft 4 just came out. We're making a commitment in how many years of research have we done on this leading up to this? And we're committing to 5 decades of commitment. Every town council, every mayor after you will be cleaning up and or celebrating from this, whichever way the case actually goes. But I don't see the reason to rush into it today. I don't understand the drop from the 75% road cost to the 60% or the 75% completion point to the 60% completion point. I do know that for Summer House, because we're a gated community, town of Holly Ridge has no road responsibility. The other thing I looked into this morning was, what does the annexation agreement between Holly Ridge and Summer House look like? And the answer is the town council didn't annex Summer House. We were annexed through a law passed by the state senate, or by the state. And that occurred in 2015 after the development had already gone through lawsuits and fraud accusations and lots of other cases or lots of other scenarios. We need to understand what we're dealing with, and we've got a developer who hasn't even committed to buying the property when he swears he's going to go through with this regardless of the annexation. Those are my concerns. Thank you.
My name is Keith Lewis. I live at 262 Spicer Lake, and I don't have a question. I'm just going to state the obvious. Josh, I know your stance on it. It's crystal clear. If I'm not mistaken, Phil, Pete, you're realtors. I know what your stake is too. The only reason you're pushing it. So I do have a question. Pam, Greg, and Brandon, what is it you stand to gain? There's some type of physical money that you stand to gain. You two, I know what you gain. Josh, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Brad George at 102 Doral Drive, Hampstead. I am the sitting commissioner for District 1 in Pender County. And the statement was made earlier that Pender County was contacted and had no objection. To my knowledge, the board as a whole has not even spoken this together. So I'm not sure where that came from. So I'm not here representing the Board of Commissioners, but I am here representing myself as a resident of Hampstead and what this will do to me as a taxpayer. The annex part that's in Pender County will create more children for our overcrowded school system already. They will be annexed into Surf City Middle School and Surf City Elementary because that part of the neighborhood will be in Pender County. They cannot go to Onslow County schools. Those schools are already overcrowded. We have no plans to build a new school in this part of the county for some time. We're currently under construction with a K-8 school in Hampstead that will relieve some of the burden on that school. But if you come up 17, you see where Surf City's building apartments as hard as they can too. So I'm not here to tell you how to do your job because I sit on that side of the table and I know how difficult it is. But I do thank you for your time.
Do we have time for one more? Time for one more?
All right, so I'm Dominic Tesserero from 185 Spicer Lake Drive. I'm here on behalf of my father, who died February 1st of 2026 due to the snowstorm and the lack of preparedness of Holly Ridge and not having the roads cleared at a good time. It took Holly Ridge Police Department and Fire Department 45 minutes from the time we called 911 to show up at my house. 45 minutes, 30 minutes of where I was doing CPR, but y'all couldn't have been there because you guys couldn't have the roads done. All right, so tell me, if you guys can't be prepared now, how do you expect to be prepared with 7,000 more people? A 3-mile drive from Holly Ridge Fire Department, Holly Ridge Police Department to Summer House, and it took you 45 minutes. All right, it don't matter because I just did the drive too. That same day after I left the house, when they rolled my father out the street. I took that drive from my house to Sneads Ferry. It only took me 10 minutes. So tell me, where was the preparedness? Did they not have the right tires? Did they not have chains? What is it? Because if you can't do it now, you can't do it with 7,000 more people. And I promise that. Thank you.
Do you have time for 5 minutes?
Good evening. My name is Julie Taylor, 198 Trout Street, Holly Ridge, and 70557 7th Street, Surf City. I'd like to address the council members and take us back a few years ago in history, before the first Evolve property was built, when several of us actually, met with the planning board, met with the council, and a rezoning vote against rezoning part of the current Evolve RV Park. You voted against changing the zoning. On the backside of that meeting, without any notification to any of the residents, a text amendment changed that zoning. The zoning that matched the neighboring neighborhood where many of us have properties or live. Some people have lived there for 35 plus years. So without any notification, that change occurred, and an RV park was built, which is what we see now when we look out of our properties. I bring this up because we're talking about pushing this through and the speedy, potential annexation and a 50-year agreement. So we're literally talking about you guys accepting and cashing a check that 5 generations of people's children and grandchildren are going to have to effectively back. I'm going to urge you not to do what has been done in the past and bypass the voices of the people who are here with you tonight, who are asking you to back up, to take some time. We've watched what has happened with other developments where, for instance, again at the Evolve property, no stay was going to be longer than 2 weeks when that was proposed. They have actively been advertising and accepting year-long reservations for, I think, at least a year now. So we can all say what we're going to do and what we're not going to do. But when push comes to shove, who's going to be here to really face the decisions that we're making tonight? And so I urge you, there's no race here. If it's going to take 50 years for us to potentially build out this development, I don't think we need to push it through in 5 months. I also think that 50 years to build out a development is a bit extreme. I know there's precedent. We can look at the history. We've found some examples of 40 years, 50 years in big towns and college towns and other places that aren't 5,000 residents. Again, I just urge you to back up, consider, listen to the voices, let's do some fact-finding, let's avoid some environmental concerns. I was born and raised here. I have played on Camp Davis. more times than I can count. It's a wonder that I'm upright, honestly, and walking based on some of the stuff that we found. So please, I implore you, think about future generations. This is not just about my next 20 years, your next 20 years, 10 years, 40 years, however many years any of us have left. But it is about what comes in the 50 years and the kids, their 50 years beyond that. Thank you.
The last one. Go ahead.
Hello, my name's Marnie Geist. I live at 255 Twining Rose Lane. And I would like to, first of all, thank everyone who's spoken tonight. You're amazing. And I have to say, from my heart, I moved here and I love living in Holly Ridge. But if you really want to do something for us in a different way, why don't you do something with the intersection of 17 and 50? There's lots of land there where you could be putting in YMCAs and you could be putting in restaurants and things that would bring revenue really to us. When you talk about revenue coming from land on the other side of the Camp Davis, you don't talk about the expenses. You can make $1 million, but if you have $2 million in expenses, you have a deficit. And all everyone keeps saying is, we're going to get revenue, we're going to get revenue. Well, where's the list of the potential expenses? It seems fairly elementary. I would love you to, it feels to me like this is all about a developer getting money and realtors getting money. And it's not, if you want to do something for us, put something at the intersections of 17 and 50. There's a lot of property that needs to be developed. Start there.
Diane, did you want to come up? Just one more, this last one.
Hi, I'm Diane Renna from, I'm like, where do I live? 459 Summer House Drive, Holly Ridge. Because I was thinking back to, I used to live in Spionk, New York, and there was a plume, and there was a whole,
Can you speak a little louder?
there was, where I came from was Spionk, Long Island, and there was a plume. It was same military thing. So our town worked together. So there was a plume. The town worked with the county and the state, and we got a Superfund site. We cleaned it up, and there was like a master plan, and the better planning. So I'm just coming to speak and listening to everybody. What everyone said is a good point, is just take some time to plan. I think what the proposed plan looks awesome and everything looks great about it, but everyone's concerned about the contamination, and you really need to perhaps clean it up first. Let's clean it up and work slowly if it needs to be, because you don't want sickness, cancer everywhere. I'm just concerned about that, the water, and it's not a pretty sight when all around people are dying of cancer. I don't know. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you. Oh, and where I live now, I went back this past summer, and the master plan was finished, and it was beautiful, and everything was done, but it was done right. I'm just asking if you could just slow it down a bit and do it the right way. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Okay, we are at the first time limit. May I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Maciano, second by Mayor Protem Hall. Any discussions? How do you vote?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, the public hearing is closed now. I'm going to try to look at the recommendation. So the recommendation is action to possibly approve the voluntary satellite annexation on Onslow County, parcel number 027-857, 001971, 011-593, and Pender County parcel 4227-56-5933-000, consisting of approximately 1226. So may I have the motion to accept the recommendation?
Have the motion first.
Motion to,
You gotta have the motion first before you can discuss. So motion.
motion by Mayor Pro Tem Hall,
Second.
second by Councilman Massiano. Now, for the discussion, what I'd like to do is just go in order because I'm sure everybody has comments. So, did you?
Yes, sir, Mayor, I've got a couple things. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot appreciate the time and effort that everyone's put into this. I've talked to several people and just overwhelmed with the compassion from the citizens. I had a long list of concerns and questions for everybody, but I hear every word that y'all are saying, and I feel what y'all are feeling. First and foremost, Mr. Dominic, hats off to you. I'll tell you, I think about your dad every day. That was one of the worst calls I've been on in a while. But the steps that we've taken over across the street at the fire station, we were to you in 8 minutes after the time of dispatch. Your beef and our beef is with Onslow County EMS. The closest ambulance that responded to that was on Western Boulevard. So
Unacceptable.
So our care and treatment to your father was frustrating. A lot went on that you didn't see. A lot of phone calls were being made during the incident. I was on the phone with the director of EMS during it. So I know the weather impacted that a lot, but we see it several times throughout the week. The town has supported a paramedic program over there for us and paid staff to supplement the deficiencies of the county that just can't keep up with what we have now, which goes into my argument against something like this. If we're playing catch up now, I could only imagine what's going to happen. So a lot of my concerns lean on public safety just because of my background. I see a lot of these problems firsthand. I heard water supply brought up. I know where you're coming from. A lot of you remember the fire across the street. We literally had to shut down hose lines during the operation because the pressure dropped after, I think it was 27 or 30 minutes. Pressure was good to start with. It normally is. But it's not a problem of pressure in most cases. It's the volume. We literally drained the town of its water with one ladder truck. And it was very frustrating.
Y'all do a great job, too.
And we're already applying rural water supply techniques in town to a lot of our commercial areas. And what that means is water tanker shuttles water to us from a fill point away from the fire, just so we can have adequate water where we should be able to rely on the hydrants in town, which in large fire events we cannot. And the only thing I'd like to add to this as well is the several housing projects that are still under construction now that's not even come online, and that are expecting adequate water, when their project is complete. But again, I appreciate every one of you. But,
I'm going to be short. I can tell you, I've lived here all my life. I have
my life is in Holly Ridge. I have nothing personal to gain whether this goes through or doesn't, contrary to some people's beliefs. My only interest is in the best interest of the town. It always has been, it always will be. And I'll never do nothing that I believe personally will hurt the town of Holly Ridge.
Order, please. Order, please. Mayor Protem.
It's really encouraging to speak when you know you're going to get slammed whichever direction you go, so I'd appreciate just a little bit of respect. I haven't made up I didn't come in here with my mind made up like you guys have. I'm certainly not getting any money for all this. If I am, I'm not doing something right, because I'm living in a Camp Davis apartment that I rent so that I can live in Holly Ridge and stay involved. I could move out of town, but I want to be involved in the town. I want to see families come into town. My fundamental belief is that inside Holly Ridge, we don't have the mom and pops. We don't have people that are moving here. They're going into the neighborhoods, but they're not coming into town and building shops or even a hair salon or a cafe. They're just not building the things that would make us be more a town. So I'm hoping that with new communities, there's families going to come in.
Please.
Hey, that's not fair now. I listened to you and I did not laugh. This is my belief and you ask us to speak. Okay? I have a fundamental belief that people drive how a town grows, not the tax base. I'm not as concerned about the money as you guys seem to think we are. But when I came in to Holly Ridge and came from Charlotte, Raleigh, and lived all over the country, when I got here, I got that cafe. I felt like I was a part of the community. I felt like I knew a lot of people. That's what I believe would happen if some of you had little businesses in town. Buy the corners. If those land are available, you invest in them and build help build the community. Bring some, hang on, bring some, you're talking about tax base from commercial. It don't come unless somebody builds the commercial. The build the commercial doesn't come unless it's a person to do it. So that's my opinion, and I apologize if you don't like it, but I don't apologize for my opinion. And I've been here for a long time. I was raised in Holly Ridge. I've drank the water in Holly Ridge since I was born. I was born at Camp Lejeune, and I do not glow in the dark. I don't have cancer. I don't even take medication, and I'm 72 years old. So the concerns, all of these concerns that you're bringing up about what's going to happen in 20 years and 50 years, I don't personally can't get on board with. Now, that's my opinion, and you are certainly okay with yours.
Order, please. Order, please. Hey, please.
So it's obvious it's not a good.
Okay, is your second warning.
It's obviously not a good idea to express my opinion, but I am telling you where I'm coming from. And I've heard all of your concerns. I have a lot more faith in some of the permitting processes that you have. I've been through some of them myself. With having a business, there's the health department permitting, they jump through hoops. I've been through a lot of things. I'm not telling you that your concerns are wrong, but I don't want you to tell me mine are wrong either, or my opinions are wrong. So I want to bring families here, but I want to bring families here that will invest in the community, not go outside of the community and just stay in their housing area. So there's all these comments about he's going to build it regardless. We all have opinions on whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I go one way or the other. I know that if he goes through the county, that it will take him a little longer. I was the one that was kind of against. I was against the gun range coming in down east of town rather, because I didn't think it was close enough to our community to really be a part of our community. I think this is sitting right on the edge of town. It's part of Holly Ridge. It's right on the line. It can very well be part of Holly Ridge. I do think we can benefit from more families here, and especially families that work here and not vacation homes. So that's my opinion.
Order, please. Can you please keep the order?
They're not going to do it.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done. I'm
Okay,
done.
Councilman Maciano.
It's not going to.
Great, my turn.
Is your mic on?
Yeah, my mic's on. And I'm from Long Island, and I'm a Navy guy, and I live in Summer House. But good evening, and thank you for being a part of this historic decision for our small town. I understand that the decision being made tonight may or may not be a popular decision to all citizens of Holly Ridge. I can respect the democracy and the civil discourse that comes out of the big decisions like the one we were making tonight. And to be crystal clear, since I've been called out and Pete's been called out, we do have no direct financial gain at all from this development. I appreciate you giggling, but reality is we do not. And the one thing I used to say as a Navy chief is you don't question integrity. And I can tell you right now, it just pisses me off when you do that. So I'm going to move on. Yes, you're right, because I'm thinking of my wife, who keeps telling me all the time, just to relax and don't question integrity. There was a housing gap analysis done showing a 12,000 home shortage in October of 2024 in Onslow County. These are facts. Families want to move to eastern North Carolina. Holly Ridge in the last year alone has grown 6% in population. Holly Ridge has grown 20% over the last 3 years in population. This is a fact. This is not mere making up numbers. We are 20% growth as we sit here. And the only person you should be thanking is COVID. COVID drove all of this market craziness for everybody to leave high-dollar cities and states to come to our eastern North Carolina. It is very clear that the housing affordability is at a breaking point for half of Americans. Even with the higher interest rates, we are still in a seller's market with inventory sitting at less than 60 days. In Holly Ridge alone, pulled all the data yesterday. In Holly Ridge alone, over the last 6 months, 41% of all homes sell in the first 30 days. 58% sell in 60 days, 73% within 90 days. The other sellers that have overpriced their homes and have condition issues, these are just the facts that I pulled the data yesterday. The National Association of Realtors says 6 months of inventory is a balanced market. We are not even close. When and if the rates drop, we will still be in a very competitive market, if not worse. The only thing that fixes this is supply and demand, whether we like it or not. Yes, I am a realtor. Yes, I'm a broker in charge. I've been doing this for 9 years. But I'm going to tell you one thing. I know data. The developer has been working on this for a year and a half, and when this came to the council 6, 7, 8 months ago, none of us were ready for this kind of commitment. I agree. Also, we could not make an informed decision due to political climate that has put Holly Ridge on pause until the election was over. We know how that opposition ran on shutting down this annexation, and I know it's been brought up tonight by many others, but we see how the election went. So the voices that are not in this room, I hear you. Our town attorney and town manager have worked on this development agreement, and we are now at version 4. Yes, we did get it yesterday, 2 days ago, but there was only minor changes. And trust me, I've been looking at this for 3-4 days straight, chat GPT in it, rip it apart, put it back together, emailing Bud, trying to figure out, hey, is this bad or is this not bad? But what I do know is the Phase 1 environmental was October of 2024. That report has been out on the Holly Ridge homepage for anybody to review. We might not like what CG has or says, but bottom line, that's a third-party environmental health group. Nobody in this room is an environmental health that has a degree or certificate in environmental health. So we trust the experts. I trust the attorney. I didn't like the 50-year, but our attorney said, hey, this is normal for this scale and this size scope as well. The state regulators will always look over, and the developer actually wrote back into Phase 1, he's willing to do a Phase 1 again. And is that correct?
He did indicate he's willing to do a Phase 1 as well as a Phase 2.
Thank you. And trust me, the developer has asked the town for no money. So I know there's some misinformation from the people that are speaking this evening that are not 100% aware of everything that's going on with the 90-page report, the CE, the year and a half, and I totally understand that. DEQ, Department of Environmental Quality, they oversee the water. And I'll tell you, the rules right now are so strict, and WASA is responsible for the water and sewer. The developers asked for nothing. The town has no financial impact. The 60% streets mark, that has come up. Yes, that is a concern, but that is not the construction entrances. Sometimes the words matter. It's only the finished portion of the development, not the construction entrances. If our developer said, or this developer says, hey, I want you guys to take over the construction entrances at 60%, that would be a major issue. Our finance director did do projections. He did long-term projections. And to Bud's point, you're right. We're just a little bit in agreement. We're not a lot. But also that didn't include all revenue that was coming into our Holly Ridge, which was a key factor. And I would love to have a magic crystal ball. So we are still in the green. We just had a financial audit that was just finished last meeting that is on public record, where the audit said the Holly Ridge did a great job. Again, this is not somebody that we just pulled out of a closet. This is a third party from the state that comes and looks at what Chuck has been doing and what Heather's been doing as a town manager and said they're doing a great job. The county fire police, yes, totally agree. It grows in tandem with the growth of Holly Ridge. It doesn't happen automatically. Chief Longo and Chief Sorg have said they work together. If they go to a call, Chief Sorg supports it. One of the statements was the police will not support the annexation, whether it was city limits or not. If he was in this room right now, or actually Major Waddell, he would say, if there was a call and Onslow County Sheriff said I needed help, mutual aid will be provided no matter where it's at, because they're not going to let law enforcement handle things alone. When I look at west on Highway 50, which I drive through all the time, it's barren land, and that looks aesthetically displeasing. We drive past rundown townhomes, homes in the county limits with no oversight. Holly Ridge will run a tight ship on the development, and I'm going to trust the process. The developer's working on 30 acres for schools. I wish we control the schools, but we don't. There are over 200 acres of green space, and when you look at the plan in the back, it's a beautiful piece that I'm looking forward to the future. Employees will have the ability to ride a bike to work and live 10 minutes from the beach. Holly Ridge is a great place to grow your family, and now we just need to focus on businesses that want to come to Holly Ridge. We've had businesses do due diligence, and they say Holly Ridge just doesn't have the population. In closing, Holly Ridge has been around since 1941. In the 85 years since Holly Ridge became a city, we have 5 restaurants, a couple of vape shops, an Axe Arcade, car wash base, a Dollar General, Holly Ridge Tire, a few bars that were converted from houses, and I'm just telling you right now, I'm looking forward to seeing Holly Ridge grow. I'm excited to see what the next 10 years bring, and I appreciate your time and listening to me this evening. Thank you.
Councilman Patty, could you please, we're going to take a break soon. You can do your chatter then, but we want to keep the order, please. I am asking you to please keep the order, okay? Councilman Patty.
First of all, thank you very much for showing up and speaking. And it's very telling that not one person got up in support of this annexation. Not one. You cannot bottle up support from those who are silent. The last election was not a mandate on annexation, because annexation was taken off the table. Therefore, the people that spoke need to be listened to. I'm going to try to respond to every single council person up here, and then I have some other things to say. Chief Longo and I have tried very hard, and the town has done a great job with the fire medic program and supporting the fire department. It's going to get harder if we annex this property. We have been playing catch up since I've been here, and we're going to continue to play catch up. I'm very worried for my kids, which we have 8 of, your kids, the elderly, everyone. I'm very worried because response times have been lacking for years. In my own incident where I collapsed at home, it took the ambulance 30 minutes. My wife was on the phone begging the dispatch, where is this ambulance? Where is it? At least tell me where it is. Nobody could tell us. Chief Longo's father showed up before the ambulance and helped. Thankfully, it was nothing serious, but that was scary. And I hear these stories over and over and over again. We cannot depend on mutual aid. That's what you're saying. We're going to depend on mutual aid. We would depend on mutual aid from Camp Lejeune for ambulances. We depend on mutual aid for a ladder truck from Verona and North Topsail and Surf City. What if they're not available? What if the Holly Ridge Police Department's not available for mutual aid? It's scary. So the EMS and the fire are a big deal. And Mr. Akoski, I'm going to call you out. You're going to have flushable toilets in a year because you said we're going to build as fast as possible because you will not build commercial unless there's rooftops. So you're saying a year. Some say 10 years. You're going to build it really fast, and we're going to be stuck. Speaking of commercial, Ms. Hall, people do want to open business here, but they find it very difficult to do so. We were promised a grocery store, we were promised a medical center, we're promised, a shopping center in front of Revolve and other things in front of Brookhaven. Nothing happens. Nothing happens because of roadblocks, of promises made and promises broken. Constantly. We're promised a stoplight. I'm running for State House and I'm talking to a lot of people in Pender County, and they wanted to put a stoplight on Sloop Point Road and 17. And I learned that it's been 4 years that they're trying to get a stoplight. 4 years. And as recent as a few months ago, there was a death there. 4 years. Now take that and apply that to Holly Ridge. We're going to have all these people come in, and we're not going to have the infrastructure available. I'm worried about the water. Mr. Hines, you sit on the Unwasa board. You are our voice. You are our person, our cheerleader. And on my road alone, my main broke, my neighbor's main broke, and right now there's 2 leaks that Unwasa has to take care of. How can Unwasa can't take care of those? How are they going to be able to take care of 2,700 more homes? They can't. Unwasa is too big for their britches, and they're moving too fast. We need a water tower, and guess what? We could get one, but once that water tower comes in, it's going to be taken up already. So guess what? We need another water tower, and that's not easy to get. I'm concerned. I'm very, very concerned. People keep talking about the environment, and I agree. It's great that you did phase 1. Phase 1 is you're looking at it. You know that, right? There's no digging. You're looking at it, you're looking at aerial views, you're looking at documents. Hey, there's nothing here. It's great. Do a phase 2 before annexation, Mr. Rakoski. Do a phase 2. Pay for a phase 2, work with the EPA, work with the county, work with as many independent parties to make sure that it's okay and to put these people at ease. To make sure that our children and our children's children don't have cancer. I don't care if you drink the water in Camp Lejeune. Okay, good for you. That's fine. But we're worried, and people need reassurance. And they deserve reassurance. Now we're going to talk about growth. This 7% number keeps being tossed around. There was an economic meeting a couple months ago where a whole bunch of economists in Wilmington got together, and they talked about the growth in this area. It's growing, but man, has it slowed down. It's slowed down. It's not exploding anymore. The other day I walked around a neighborhood and I saw 20 lock boxes in a neighborhood of 60 homes. 20 homes being sold, just sitting there. So Mr. Misiano, I don't trust your statistics at all. You're like Nostradamus. We can pull statistics to make it seem the way it seems. I don't think so. In this forum,
order, please. That's why. Order, please.
Are you serious, Carolyn?
Stop.
at the economic forum, economists and realtors said that the climate will go back to pre-COVID levels, 1 to 2%. In statistics that Mayor Pete provided, Holly Ridge is the only town that we're sitting at 7%. Everyone else is at 2 to 3%. How is that possible? How is that possible that we are the only, we're Holly Ridge, we don't have a beach in front of us. I don't buy your growth numbers, and we're not exploding like this. It's slowed down.
I have it in front of me if you'd like to see it.
We do have a say with the school system. Now, maybe because Mr. Longo and I have school-aged children, maybe that's why we're concerned about schools. But schools are overcrowded. Coastal Elementary was to capacity in less than a year after it was built. You heard the commissioner from Pender County. They're building a beautiful K-8 school near Salt Church on 210. It's going to be at capacity within a year. There's no plan to put a school on this plot. I spoke to the superintendent. Nothing has been formalized. Nothing has been approved. You cannot make decisions like this based on hearsay or just, yeah, maybe. You cannot. If Onslow County Schools said, yes, there's an elementary school going there, yes, we have a funding plan, yes to everything, then fine. But guess what? That's not the vibe I got. They're going to build it someplace else, not there. And guess what? If they don't build a school there, Mr. Rakowski, what are you going to put there? More houses, maybe. Because when we get to the PUD discussion, and the PUD is approved, that gives him a lot of leeway to do whatever he wants. I'm nervous with the schools. Teachers have been contacting me every day. They're overcrowded. There's nowhere for them to go. Alicia Hawley, Surf City Councilwoman, spoke here. If you do this, you're going to have to redistrict and pull kids from Surf City and Holly Ridge and put them, who knows where, further away from their home. Can you imagine your kids riding a bus for an hour or two? Could you imagine if it snowed and they're stuck on the bus?
Order, please.
Speaking of the high school, they are redoing the cafeteria, adding a few classrooms, but that's not good enough. We have a problem here. We have a problem with rooftops before infrastructure. I have not found one case where annexation has benefited the people that live here now. Not one. Not one. Let's talk about the roads. Town manager, clarify for me, how much money did we spend for our redoing of the roads? How many millions?
2.
2 million?
Yes, sir.
Plus that 900,000 from the COVID money, correct? Or is that?
So we took a loan for 2 million, so that's the repaving and FDR of most of the streets, and then a sealant. So total, we have $2 million budgeted for both the repavement and the slurry seal.
How many miles of roads is in Holly Ridge?
Approximately 14.
How many miles of roads is in this proposed annexation? Do we know? Approximately?
I don't have that number.
That's pretty scary, that we don't even know. Probably double. Can I tell you, it was very difficult to budget for this money, that we had to take a loan. Do you want to take on loans to pay for things like this? No. I don't. I'm concerned that we're going to spend money that we don't have and keep playing catch up. And the roads is a big, big deal, especially if we take over the roads at 60%. You can't tell me construction vehicles are just going to use the construction entrances. They don't. You see it in Summer House. They drive wherever they want to go. So when you're talking about concrete trucks and landscaping trucks, whatever, they're going to go and get to where they want to go. So you are going to pay for the roads that are finished because those construction vehicles are going to drive over them. I'm concerned. I'm 99% sure your taxes will increase because of this. For the last 2 years, tax increases have been proposed. 4% the first year I was here. Last year, 4 or 5% was kind of talked about, then kind of squashed. If we play smart with our money, you don't have to increase taxes. We have revenue coming in. Tar Lane is not even up and going yet. Brookhaven isn't even up and going yet. Summer House has another 300 homes to be built. There's money to come in. You have to slow down. We don't have to raise taxes. Just because Surf City raised their tax rate 12 cents doesn't mean we have to raise taxes. Slow down. You don't have to pay for the future. You are the future. Slow down and let's take care of you first. Again, I agree with every single one of you speakers that spoke tonight. I've been against this annexation since August. It has been a bane of my existence. I've been attacked personally. My wife has been attacked personally. My kids have been attacked. I'm going to stick to my guns. I'll take care of you, I promise. I'll continue to be your voice. And I'm a hard no on this. Thank you.
Okay. Comments are done. It's time for a vote. On this issue, start with, we have, how do you vote? No, we did the motion.
No.
How do you vote? No.
Yes.
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 Absolutely not.
Okay, the motion passes 3-2. All right, we are done with item A.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, Margaret needs clarification.
I'm sorry?
I just need a recount of the votes.
Councilman Patty said no.
Yes,
No.
thank you.
And
I also said
Councilman
no.
Longo.
Councilman Longo said yes.
No, he
No, I
said
did
no.
not.
Councilman Longo said no. Councilman,
Pine said yes.
yeah. Mayor Pro Tem said yes. Marciano said yes. And Patty said no. Okay, we've been here for 1 hour, I guess 1 hour and 40 minutes. It is 7:40, and we are going to go to item B and then item C, and each of those have public hearing.
Mayor?
So, yes, ma'am.
If we could take a 5-minute recess,
Sure,
please.
I was just going to announce
Okay.
that we're going to take a 15 minutes break, and we're going to
think everyone left.
Okay, I call the meeting back to order. And we are going to go to item B, item 6B. This is the discussion and possible approval or request by Holly Ridge Development Development Group LLC to rezone Onslow County parcel number 027857, 001971, 011593, and Pender County parcel number 4227-56-5933-0000 to a planning unit development, PUD, overlay, and light industrial with Camp Davis Industrial Park overlay. This property consists of approximately 1,226 acres, and our planning director, Nathan Rue, is going to make a presentation. Thank you, Nathan. Go ahead.
Okay. There we go. I was going to try and get out of it because the mic...
Speak a little louder.
I said I was going to try and get out of it because the mic didn't work, but here we are. So yes, the request at this time is based on the annexation approval is to now provide zoning designation for the parcels in question, as you identified, being 4 parcels, 3 of which line within Onslow County, 1 within Pender County. It is approximately 1,226 acres, split with it being, the request being medium density plan unit development overlay with an RA, rural agriculture principal district, as well as a light industrial principal zoning with the Camp Davis Industrial Park overlay. Sorry, backing up, the rural agriculture and PUD would be on 968 acres, with the light industrial being 258 acres. Current zoning within Onslow County is rural agriculture as well. Within Pender County, there is no zoning designation. These are just the areas related to, that support that through Onslow County, through Pender County, and then our current zoning map as well, which it would not cover. The future land use plan map for Onslow County designates this as infrastructure energy extraction, and the future land use plan designates the portion in Pender County as rural agriculture as well. Again, being it not within the town's jurisdiction, it would not, the current land use plan would not cover that. However, if approved, then it would automatically change. Again, so adjoining the parcels would be, they are zoned as rural agriculture as well as R20, with Pender County properties adjoining it not having any designation. The uses within the area are primarily vacant and undeveloped. There is some single-family dwellings within the area. Duke Energy has a laydown yard, and then there's also the military runway in the area. The Town of Holly Ridge Planning Board considered this on the 17th, where they unanimously recommended approval for it, stating that it was consistent with the land use plan of the town as it supports a growth pattern that includes single-family residential communities with strategic placement of high-density mixed-use and commercial development, and that it is also encourages residential development that supports affordable housing, is brought forth with the top 5 public input priorities, and that it was reasonable in the public interest as permitted uses would encourage more to residential development and possibly recruit large-scale employment. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Nate, why would a developer ask for a PUD? What are the benefits of a developer asking for a PUD?
Yeah, because it would allow more versatility in the land development versus if the property does not meet the strict requirements of the ordinances, then that development would allow more versatility
And without a PUD, that means that he would have to go to us, correct? More frequent
No,
for approval?
Without a PUD overlay, it would have to go with our ordinance, so just say with rural agriculture district, lot sizes, setback information associated with it. So with the PUD, it could be a decrease in lot size, decrease in setbacks, other versatilities associated.
Okay, so you just stated all my concerns. A PUD gives a developer a lot of leeway to change things, density. It's easier for him to do things. It's very concerning. There's a patch of green space on there that has label in PUD, and I know landscaping and kind of stuff like that is under a PUD as well, correct?
Correct, there are requirements.
Even though the developer may say he will leave that as a green space, could he do something else under a PUD? Kind of change it and put houses there?
Not under an approved PUD. If it's laid out as far as like this concept that this is the area and the percentages are there, then based on that concept plan, they would be required to follow it.
Okay.
You done?
For now.
Okay, thank you, Nate. May I have a motion to go to public hearing? Motion with Councilman Hines? Second by Mayor Tim Hall. How do you vote? Oh, any discussion? How do you vote?
Yes.
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 Okay, the public hearing is open. Anybody signed up?
Yes, sir. Our first public speaker, Marnie Geist. Okay. Next is Taryn Carranza.
Good evening, again, council. My name is Taryn Carranza, and I live at 117 Katrina Street in Sneads Ferry. So the county's Horizon 24 future land use designation for the infrastructure energy extraction zone that the gentleman previously just highlighted, that was designated for this area as far as the land use. And in planning terms, that type of designation is typically reserved for land intended to support utility systems, industrial operations, or long-term operational compatibility, not residential intensity. So rezoning to a planned unit development and light industrial overlay represents a significant policy shift. Before making that shift, environmental suitability should be clearly documented, particularly given the site's proximity to a legacy pre-regulatory landfill and our PFAS site 111 on the Camp Davis airstrip. And then the proximity to our municipal Onwassa drinking water wells located approximately within 1,000 feet of the pre-regulatory landfill. So earlier this week, I requested written clarification from both the project's environmental consultant and NCDEQ regarding whether modern environmental evaluation specific to this well proximity has been completed and whether those legacy conditions should have been identified as a recognized environmental condition on their environmental assessment, the Phase 1 report that has been referenced previously this evening. And as of this evening, written confirmation has not been provided to me from either of those organizations. So the question before rezoning is not simply land use, it's whether verification should come before a permanent policy shift. It was mentioned earlier by a council member that they've lived here for a long time and have had no issues drinking water here. However, water has only been specifically being sourced from this Camp Davis region on the Onwassa tract since approximately 2019. And other than that, in the vicinity of this central hub, people would have been on private water wells for some time. Pete, you're looking at me a little confused.
Go ahead.
Okay. So the point being, we have not been sourcing water from those Onwassa tracts for a long period to perhaps see if there is any sort of issues that we would see as like a region or a location to identify and correlate an environmental concern or a health risk concern. And lastly, just to confirm and reiterate on the record, the environmental assessment completed by CG did not include the landfill as a recommended environmental concern or the PFAS site 111. If CG did not include these sites in their assessment as concern, can we confidently say that they considered these areas of concern or eradicated them for concern when sourcing water at this site as well? Basically, if we're not looking at it now today to be a concern, did we look at it before when we were sourcing water there? And I realize those are questions with a different organization. The Onwassa people are going to be doing their own testing and be the holder of those documents. But again, as of today, I haven't been able to get a clear answer with that either. So again, just respectfully asking for some verification before we go ahead and continue to move forward with things that could be affected secondarily by this future development of this zone, or the land disturbing activities that can perpetuate things moving or seeping, pluming, however you want to describe it. And that we see the verification that we have clearance and safety first before making major decisions. Thank you.
Thank you.
There are no more signed up.
Okay, we have a lot of time. If anybody would like to come to the podium on this particular subject, I want to focus on just the zoning question. Anyone? Okay, may I have a motion to close the public hearing? Motion by Councilman Hines,
Second.
second by Councilman Marciano. Any discussions? How do you vote?
Yes.
Close the public hearing.
Yes.
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 Okay, the public hearing is closed. Now, the recommendation is action to possibly approve the request by Holly Ridge Development LLC to rezone Onslaught County parcel number 027857, 001971, 011593, and Pender County parcel number 4227-5933-0000 to a PUD overlay and light industrial with Camp Davis Industrial Park overlay. This property consists of approximately 1,226 acres. So may I have a motion to accept the recommendation? Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Hall,
Second.
second by Councilman Marciano. For discussion, let's do it again this way from left to right. Comments?
Rezoning the PUD, all I hear is high-density living and congestion. Again, I lean on safety concerns that I have. Rezoning this basically assumes that the town has the infrastructure to support it. I have concern about compounding these demands before capacity issues are addressed.
No comment by Councilman Hines? Mayor Pro Tem?
It was many years ago when I first got on the council, they were using the PUD overlay, and I've been sitting here thinking, trying to remember which organization it was or where they put it, but it felt like it was loose, like there wasn't control, like they were getting a PUD so they could just like put it on the board and draw in and then redraw and redraw and redraw, and that's not the case of the PUD overlay. This is my understanding of the PUD overlay, and if you don't agree, keep it to yourself and talk to me later or something. or come up here and speak at the microphone. But anyway, my understanding is that the reasons PUD started were in some of the cities where they'd have stores and then houses, apartments on top. So they could have commercial and they could create communities that had stores in it as well as apartments or houses are in it. And they do control, once he creates this plan, he can't just go back and redraw it. He gives us the PUD overlay and we approve it. So it doesn't make it less stringent if you just tell him he has to put just houses there. It doesn't make it, that doesn't make it harder or more stringent because he's just doing houses. So the PUD should, in my mind, should not scare you away unless you don't want the commercial entities and you don't want houses and commercial together. So that's just my opinion. Wanted to express that.
Thank you. I worked out of an office in Hampstead, and the PUD basically said we had to have so many oak trees in front of our business. And I remember asking the town, saying, hey, how come I have to have all these oak trees in front of my business? Because all it does is block the business when it grows up. And that municipality's main office had crepe myrtles in front of their shop and not oak trees. So needless to say, we always had to constantly trim our oak trees based on the PUD. So I do trust that the process will be held tight. Number 9, recommended action. The ESA has revealed no evidence of recognized environmental conditions in connection with the project site. There is no reason to suspect that the project site or adjoining properties are of sufficient environmental concern to warrant additional investigations. Therefore, a Phase 2 ESA is not recommended at this time. This is from the SEGI report, October 2024, and the developer still has agreed to do a Phase 1, even though he does not have to, and also a Phase 2 if needed. So again, developer, thank you for considering the environmental concerns of the citizens of Holly Ridge and taking that extra step, because I know it's going to cost you money. Thank you.
Councilman Patty?
It's very simple to understand. The PUD is less strict. If you keep the standard zoning ordinances that we have, then it'll be more difficult. The PUD is less strict. PUD allows flexibility that can override existing setbacks, density limits, design standards. So if you grant this PUD, it overrides the zoning ordinances that we have. That's what you're doing with this. We have rules. The PUD breaks those rules and makes it easier. Correct? And I don't think we're going to vote on the PUD again. Correct? Once it's done, it's done. So I'm concerned that it's overriding what we have and making it easier to fit more homes with infrastructure we don't have. That's it.
Okay, the council comments are done. It's time, May. We had the motion, so now how do you vote?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. No.
Okay, motion passes 3-2. Okay, we have time, so we don't need a break. We'll just go to item C. Item 6C, discussion and possible approval. A request by Holly Ridge Development LLC for a concept map for the proposed planned unit development, parcel number 027857, 011, 001971, 011593, and Pender County parcel number 4227-56-5933-0000. And again, our planning director has a presentation.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. So a lot of this is repetitious as far as the aerial for the site. So
Speak a little louder, Nathan.
Sorry. A lot of the aerial maps and zoning maps are similar to the last presentation and what we have been discussing. So I'll get right to the crux of the conversation. So the entire property being 1,226 acres, the only portion of the property that is related to the plan or the concept plan for this planned unit development is related to 968 acres. Proposed in the plan as submitted to you guys as well, it will be composed of single-family dwellings, which would be no more than 20, which could be up to no more than 20% of townhomes. There are multifamily dwellings as well as commercial development along Highway 50. In total, with the entire PUD between portions in Onslow County and Pender County, 2,750 units are proposed. Again, contingent on that, what has already been previously approved. As a breakdown, again, in Onslow County, 2,710 units, being 450 multifamily with 1,500 single-family dwellings, up to 20% townhomes. Pender County being 800 single-family dwellings, as well as that 20% townhome, and then 64 acres being commercial and non-residential. The setbacks, in this case for the RA, Rural Agriculture District, by ordinance, the front would be 25%. That is what is being proposed in this plan unit development. The side is 8%. According to our ordinance, they are proposing 5. And then the rear is 15 per ordinance. They are proposing 20 rear setbacks. Again, the zoning map designates this for Onslow County currently as rural agriculture, and then no zoning for Pender. So this would just fall in line with what was just approved as being rural agriculture, with that overlay, plan unit overlay. Again, the future land use map, and just for clarification, that as with any future land use map, that is something that is considered when you look at development. It's not an ordinance. It is something that is living, that can be changed. We use it as a guideline for things, and just because this is in Onslow County, that may be their future designation, but it is currently rural agriculture as it sits now. So as it relates to our ordinance and the requirements for plan unit developments, they are permitted 16 units per acre. They are proposing 2.5 units per acre in the Onslow County portion, 3.1 units per acre in the Pender County portion. 15,488 units would be permitted according to our ordinance. They are only proposing 2,750. 15% of open space of the residential acreage is required, which would be a minimum of 46 acres, where they are proposing 114 acres. And then there is commercial development that is proposed along our major thoroughfare and Highway 50. NCDOT on WASA, they have provided no objections, and in proceeding, they would need to work with them, directly apply, and with design plans for infrastructure for their approval. No objections have been provided by Camp Lejeune either. If approved, then preliminary plats will be submitted to the planning board for their approval as in accordance with our ordinance. And then they also, on the 17th, recommended unanimously to approve this. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Nathan. Any question by the board? No, okay. Okay, I'm going to read the recommendation. Action to possibly approve the request by Holly Ridge Development Group, LLC, for a concept map for a proposed planned unit development, Onslow County, parcel number 027-857-001971 and 011593, and Pender County, parcel number 4227-56-5933-0000. So may I have a motion to accept the recommendation?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Massiano.
Second.
Second by Councilman Councilman Hines. Any discussions? Okay, how do you vote?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Okay, motion passes 3-2. Okay, going to the last item. I hope everybody is okay. We don't need a break. I think we are still good. All right, item 6D, discussion and possible approval of the proposed developers agreement submitted by Holly Ridge Development LLC. And I think we are in version 4 of the development agreement. So may I have a motion to go to public hearing?
Motion.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Hall.
Second.
Second by Councilman Massiano. Any discussions? How do you vote?
Yes.
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 Okay, we are in public hearing. We invite do you have a sign? Do you have anybody sign in for this public hearing?
Yes, sir. Taryn Carranza.
Would you like my address again? Okay. All right. Hello, and good evening again. I don't have many different things to say at this point. The concept map establishes the physical pattern of development, roads, lots, and infrastructure placement. Approving that layout near the legacy landfill and the Site 111 with municipal water wells approximately 1,000 feet assumes environmental suitability has already been confirmed. As of today, written confirmation of modern environmental evaluation relative to the wells has not been publicly provided. And we keep referencing the Phase 1, but just to reiterate again, that Phase 1 did not include the landfill or Site 111 PFAS as a recommended environmental concern. When I reached out to CG, it was basically to clarify why did ASTM allow them to exclude those two sites from their environmental assessment. And that's the answer that I was hoping to receive by this evening so that we know, did this happen by way of ASTM guideline, or did it happen by error perhaps? And it in fact should have been included. So that's kind of the difference between the reference of, the Phase 1 was done. Yes, it was done, but clearly within their ASTM border, the landfill and Site 111 were not included. So, sorry, let me get back to my speech. So just, I guess, bringing it all together, that just the layout decisions are difficult to reverse once they are approved. And again, just reiterating the need and wish for verification of these sites and potential concern before the development is set. And somebody mentioned about the votes, and I do believe that the developer agreement says that beyond the initial Phase 1 plat, the council will not be voting on the map or the plats again at that point. It will just be decided between the administrator chosen by the developer and then the town council. So I don't believe there will be many future votes regarding where things are going and whatnot. Final plat approval, the agreement said will not be going before the board for vote. So, thank you.
Next.
Dorothy Royal. No others have signed up, Mayor. For
the developer
okay.
That's fine.
D.
You're welcome.
We're on
Welcome.
C.
C.
Oh, we're on C?
I'm sorry?
We're on item C.
Right, okay.
So
No, we're on.
No,
Ms.
we are
Muller,
item D.
we're on D?
We are in developer agreement. Right.
So yes, Ms. Melissa is first. I apologize, the sheets are mixed up.
Okay, Melissa Stebline, 252 Twining Rose Lane. I've attended the last couple meetings where the developer has stated he really doesn't know the math. Let me tell everyone, he knows every penny he will make and what the cost will be, or he wouldn't be in business. Last summer, North Hines Road was resurfaced at the cost of $300,000 to Holly Ridge, according to our mayor. In the most recent agreement draft, it has Holly Ridge taking over the maintenance of the roads at 60% completion, down from 75% from the original agreement. That means after each area of this massive subdivision is 60% complete, Holly Ridge will own that road. We will be responsible for all damages and repairs, even though construction vehicles will still continue to travel these same roads daily. And I don't believe what the council said before will be accurate. Who's going to be there to police the construction vehicles to make sure they're not driving down the roads they're not supposed to be? So that's a little ridiculous.
Okay, let's see where we are. We have all seen what damage construction vehicles do to the roads in many areas of Holly Ridge. We will be continually repairing and eventually resurfacing all the roads. Decreasing the road maintenance percentage from 75% to 60% only puts more money in the developer's pocket and increases the financial burden on the Holly Ridge community. We should not be accepting this agreement until 100% maintenance of the roads is kept by the developer until the completion of the entire subdivision. If not, we will incur financial costs earlier than anticipated in the development process. Thank you.
April Altieri. Brian and Merrill Thaler. Dorothy Royal, you said she left. Bud Taylor.
Do you need my address? 288 Stumptown Church Road. Hey guys, it's me again. So I'm not here to attack the council at all. I'm here to try and work with you guys for what's best, what I think is best for the citizens. So I'm going to read this to make it easier. Annexation's already occurred. The question now is not whether this property is in town limits. It's what we're locking into place for the next half century. A 50-year development agreement is not routine. It is extraordinary. In reviewing comparable agreements across North Carolina, I've been able to find only one with a similar duration. The Carolina North Project in Chapel Hill, a massive university research and institutional development, not a residential subdivision. This proposal was for 2,750 residential units. That is fundamentally different in scale, risk profile, and fiscal exposure. Under the town's own fiscal projections, nearly the entire projected property tax revenue from this development is absorbed by structured staff increases alone. That leaves minimal margin for long-term infrastructure strain, capital maintenance, unforeseen costs over a 50-year horizon. Yet this agreement contains no meaningful fiscal reopener safeguards, no mandatory independent validation checkpoints, no build-in recalibration periods tied to infrastructure performance, and no mutual commercial to residential permitting. Growth is not the issue. Permanently locking in regulatory and fiscal assumptions for half a century is the issue. A 20-year term with structured review intervals would provide certainty for the developer while preserving responsible governance for the town. 50 years is a governance surrender, locking generations into this agreement. The citizens respectfully ask that this agreement be rejected or tabled this evening until more safeguards can be incorporated. Thank you.
Taryn. No, we're on D. It appears there was a motion that was missed to come out of public hearing. So after this public comment, can we take just maybe like a 3-minute break, please?
Sure. Now?
After the public comment,
That's
please.
fine. Sure. Any more public comments?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. They just did not vote to come out of the public hearing. They voted on the item, but not the public hearing. To close the public hearing. Typically, there's a vote to go in and then a vote, then the public comments are made, and then there's a vote to come out of the
That was my
public
mistake
hearing.
on item C. All right. But we are on item D and we are making comments. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Taryn.
Excuse me, just give me one moment then, because I did think we were still on topic C. So, excuse me. Okay. So the developer's agreement creates binding expectations for infrastructure timing and long-term commitments between the town and the developer. Entering that agreement for a property located near the legacy landfill and the PFAS site 111 with our water wells approximately 1,000 feet without written confirmation of modern environmental evaluation creates avoidable uncertainty. It's been stated now that it's been stated that no Phase 2 is recommended under the completed Phase 1 assessment. My question would be, if a Phase 2 is going to be completed, as you all have stated this evening, are we going to make sure for certainty that the landfill and the Site 111 PFAS location sites are going to be considered throughout this, or verified that ASTM was correct, we didn't need to look at them, that sort of thing? I would be curious to know if we're going to make sure for certain that those are tested when we're looking at soil, groundwater. And my apologies, I'm thrown off my track because of the mishap there a little bit. I think that's all I have, though. Just, again, asking for verification before things are moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Should we make a motion to close C, public hearing, just to be, we're good?
It's already been voted on.
Okay, we are still in the public hearing on item D on the development agreement. Anybody else would like to come up and talk?
Mayor, we have a couple more for item D.
Okay, go ahead.
I apologize, I cannot read the name, but it's 220 Spicer Lake Drive. It looks like maybe the last name is Alfred. Okay. Kylena Roberts. I think she left.
The floor is open for anybody that wants to make comments.
Good evening again, Council. Once again, Julie Taylor, 198 Trout Street, Holly Ridge, 7055 7th Street, Surf City. I'd just like to talk again about the time frame of this agreement. I think all of us love this place, and we understand other people want to come here. We know that growth is inevitable. That's not a challenge. I do think, though, it is a challenge, again, when we talk about an agreement that allows 5 decades for this project to go on. That's one of the big challenges I think a lot of the people here have. In last week's community meeting, Mr. Rakoski referenced the fact that sometimes in developing, we experience something like we experienced with COVID and a 3-year delay. And as a person who's involved in real estate, I understand what that looks like. Every day I face the ongoing challenges of increased prices and, trying to catch up on things that got left behind. But when we look at the largest and most impactful financial situation this country's ever faced, the Great Depression, that lasted about a decade. So if we back a decade of delay up to make the comparison like his 3-year COVID delay, 40 extra years still seems like a long time to me, even for a project of this scale. Again, we talk about, it's not about me, it is about what comes to future generations, the people in the room who have children and grandchildren, and how this continues to impact this town. We're not opposing growth, we're just asking for smart, controlled processes. Guardrails, you've heard that come up a few times. Once you bless this plan, those days are gone. You can't unring that bell. You can't back up and repunt. You're given a blank check. You're given wide open access for people to do what they want to do. And it's likely that Mr. Rakoski's not even going to be the one who does it. Right? In real estate, we very often, we take options on properties, we pass them off to somebody else, it becomes the next person's vision. So you're granting open access on this agreement for 50 years of an unknown vision, is the reality of it. And just like I referenced earlier in my Evolve conversation, where we were given an RV park that was sold to us as nothing longer than 2 weeks of a stay, and now we're seeing year-long stays, I would just encourage you, back up this time frame, put some guardrails, okay? We're not saying you can't build anything. We're not saying that when somebody owns a property and they have by right access to do what they want to do, that they can't do it. I understand how that works. But 50 years is a long time. And to Bud's point, this is in Chapel Hill. I went to school in Chapel Hill. I'm very familiar with what the North Project looks like. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of properties, there's a lot of business. It's the flagship university of our country. It's a whole different ballgame. So to make a comparison to that 50-year agreement in Holly Ridge, not even close. Not even close. So I urge you, I know we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We've already moved through 3 portions of this evening. But 50 years is a long time, and you can't unring that bell. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. May I have a motion to close public hearing?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Hines,
Second.
second by Councilman Massiano. Any discussions? Do you want to start? Did you? Go ahead.
Are we closing public hearing?
No. I mean, do you have any comments about closing public hearing?
Close public hearing first.
Okay. How do you vote?
Yes, to close public hearing.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, the recommendation is action to possibly approve the proposed developers agreement submitted by Holly Ridge Development Group, LLC. May I have a motion to accept the recommendation?
Mayor,
Yes.
if we may, so I heard there was concern about the term for the 50 years. We've asked the developer to consider a 30-year agreement instead of the 50-year, and Corey can probably speak to that a little bit better.
Go ahead, please.
So, and I certainly want to give Mr. Rakowski and his attorney, Mr. Frank, an opportunity to speak to this. I don't purport to address their concerns about the term, but I think it's important to clarify what the term of the agreement encompasses. A development agreement of this kind, where the town is not obligating itself to provide any level of exceptional services, they're providing the same level of services as we would provide to any other community within the town, and that we're not committing to a financial contribution to the project in any way. The term of the agreement is to provide the developer with assurances of the duration that the code that exists today that we're applying to them will be in effect as it affects their project. And so practically, when we talk about the term of the agreement, the purpose of the term is to vest them with rights in the code today. It's not saying, when we think of a typical contract, you say, oh, I'm now in a contract with someone for 50 years. Yes, I mean, hypothetically, we are, but the purpose of it is to allow them the opportunity to complete that project in its totality. The likelihood that a full build out of this project is a 50-year duration is very unlikely. And practically speaking, when we're thinking about, again, the scope of the project, a 50-year term also allows the town an element of flexibility so that if in the future we need to make any sort of modifications of any type, the agreement is still in effect, and it's a little bit more flexible for us as well to go and make amendments should we see that appropriate, and the developer does as well. And so I just wanted to provide that clarification point that it's not a 50-year contract like you have a 50-year contract with your HVAC maintenance person, right? Or something like that. It's to allow them some certainty as to what code will be in effect. So I hope that clarifies. And if you have any other questions for me, I'm glad to answer them.
Town Attorney, the contract that we are voting on tonight has 50 years in it, correct?
It does.
So for us to consider 30, you would have to go back, redraw this contract, and come back and vote on it. You just said you offered 30 years, and are talks continuous? Are you still talking? to the developer? Or
We've just heard that there's some concern about the duration of scope, and so Heather wanted to ensure that that was proposed as an option. This was publicly noticed for hearing. The council is completely within its right to ask for modifications to what was proposed. And just like with a rezoning, we can make modifications as we are sitting here discussing it. It doesn't have to go back out for public hearing because we're trying to make one or two modifications. And so at this point, the council has the authority to enter into, discussions with the developer. He's here this evening, as is his attorney. And so if you have any questions directly from them that you would like to address to modify this development agreement, to change it in any way, you're, again, well within your right to do so.
I don't
Mike,
feel-
do you have any comments that you would like to make?
Yes, we would definitely agree to a modification subject to the approval, reducing it to 30 years. I might also add in the agreement, there's a 3-year continuous development clause that is contained with that in agreement where we can't stop longer than 3 years and prolong things. So going to the town attorney's commentary on that. But I might also clarify that for the folks concerned about the roads, I think there's a misnomer there that you think we can turn them over at 60% completion. That's not true. We have to turn them over at 100% completion once 60% of the residents are on that road. So we don't get to turn them over to the town and have you all have to pay to finish them completely, the other 40%. And if you read the agreement, that's how it reads. So we are obligated to complete 100% of the roads prior to turning those over. So.
And if I may add to Mr. Rakowski's point, to ensure that that is the way that it reads, we have included as an exhibit to the agreement a cross-section of the road and the building standards that they have to be built to. So it is, the roads have to be completed, and then they would be turned over, as Mr. Rakowski said.
In my understanding of so y'all know the turnover acceptance involves core borings to ensure the roads were built to the exhibit standards relative to the way they would be to turn over to DOT. So those are written in there with the exhibit that gives us that cross-section and requirement. So I know there's been some thoughts that the roads get turned over uncompleted, and that's not the case.
So Mike, order, please. I'm sorry, Melissa, come up and after Mike's finished, you can come up and say. So you are amenable if the council decides to make a recommendation to 30 years?
We would not oppose a condition of your approval to be a modification of that term.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
Mike, I have a question for you.
Yes,
Ms. Sable? Oh.
I'm sorry. The construction entrance, I just want to be clear that that's one of the issues with summer houses, the construction crews come in our main entrance. You will have a separate entrance for construction crews.
We're going to make every effort. So some of that's related to wetlands and DOT permitting. So we don't want construction traffic going down roads where people are living in houses are there. So I think in any case, right now, there's planned to be 2 entrances of ingress and egress on the Pender side and 3 on the Onslow side.
Right.
So we would designate and we would do signage to divert that traffic. Because a lot of that traffic is going to go on roads prior to us turning them over, which means that's all on our maintenance expense too. So we'll hopefully, they'll listen, which, sometimes they won't. It's never 100%. We're going to make every effort to have all the construction traffic diverted into uncompleted roads. And then that's the way you manage the phasing of the project. So we'll make every effort to do that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Stabelin, do you want to come up?
The way I understood it when I read it is 60% completion of an area, not of the whole subdivision. That's the way it looks. So if I had one area and there were 100 homes there and 60 homes were done, then they turn the road over to Holly Ridge. That's the way it looks when we read it. Am I
What
doing
Mike
it wrong?
just,
Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
And there's no misconception about the road not being done. It's completed roads. So I
Yes.
don't think that was the
But it's
that was the confusing part, right?
It's a completed road that they can drive through to get to the other places the whole entire time while they're moving to the next section or finishing that one.
There's no guarantee that they'll use that construction entrance every time.
okay. Did you, Anybody else want to make comments?
I don't want to sound rude when I say this. I know I personally didn't. No one else that I spoke with thought that you were only going to build 60% of the roads, Mike. We understand it's 100% of the roads and the 60% of the houses. In this agreement, as I've said before, 30 years will be tremendously better than 50. And I think that the council should also look and speak with Mike or attorneys or whomever you need to put some safeguards, some structured things in that 30 years, like a review every 10 years, those kinds of things. I don't want to argue law with council, but this is a contract and it is binding, and it does lock the council in and the town in to exactly what it says. Mike is vested when you guys sign that for 54 years. Them, the next 13 election cycles, they have no say-so of zoning, of density, of anything that goes on within that for the next 13 election cycles. That's it.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I may clarify one point.
Of course.
There is a periodic review contained within this development agreement that provides that the town manager and the town will undertake to ensure that the continuous development is maintained. And if it is not, then the developer would be in material breach. And at that point, we would be able to exercise the rights under a default. And so just wanted to make sure everybody was aware that that is a provision of the development agreement.
Is there a time period associated with these periodic checks?
We have tracked it with that 36-month completion, but we can request them more often if we need to. But it's contained within there that we will be allowed to engage in a periodic review to ensure compliance with the terms of the agreement. And I'm glad to pull that up. And
Sam, you want to make a comment?
my mistake, it's 12-month intervals for review.
She got it. Thank you all.
Okay. So there's a 12-month.
I love to make sure that I catch all of the Sams ahead of their thoughts, so.
Thanks, bud.
You don't go buy a car and not bicker on price. So to the 1-year thing, we're going to leave that, just no offense to did you say the clerk or the manager reviews that?
So I'll read how it says in the DA. The town manager or his or her designee is authorized to conduct periodic review of the status of the project at approximately 12-month intervals from the date this agreement's approved. Upon review, they have to demonstrate good faith compliance with the terms of the agreement. They're conducted at a time determined by the town manager. And then thereafter, the town manager prepares an annual report to the town detailing the findings of that periodic review, a copy of which is provided to the developer.
All right. Would they be opposed to tying that to more of an independent fiscal review, maybe every 36 months or something like that, or some structured thing versus just the town manager going, it looks good, no offense, respectfully, but that seems like a lot of responsibility for one person to just make that decision for what essentially triples the size of this town.
So, and to that point, the town manager is empowered within her role to ensure that any designee that she determines is appropriate, or he, if it's a he at that point, they certainly could delegate that authority, but ultimately the town manager is the chief administrator of the town. And so in our position, it's most appropriately vested with the chief administrator of the town to ensure that those findings are accurately reported, but she certainly could delegate that to another person should that be necessary.
Okay, so my rebuttal to that, unfortunately, would be that while, yes, she's absolutely, that's the person that's empowered with that, we went into this with essentially no long-term fiscal projections from the town of how they'll pay for this. So it doesn't instill a lot of confidence, respectfully, that whatever town manager is in there is going to be able to perform those fiscal examinations in a way that protects the town moving forward fiscally. Just saying. But I've just been sitting over here talking to Chuck for an hour. Sorry. Sorry, dude.
I suppose I'm not sure what specifically you're referring to, because there's no fiscal commitment that the town's making aside from ensuring the proper maintenance of roads. So perhaps that's a question more adequately posed to the developer or to the council in terms of what you're looking for on the periodic review.
But, okay, there are fiscal requirements, not just the roads, services, fire, EMS, on and on. There's a line items, I did a fiscal review that I turned into you guys, from the line items for your 25-26 budget. There's a tremendous amount of things that you guys are, and we're going to be responsible to pay for, and no one has looked at how that looks 30 years from now. Yeah, I think Pete did one that was 10 years maybe. Where are the projections on that stuff? Like, again, I just respectfully think that this particular item should be tabled until more negotiations should be done and some safeguards can be put in. And I won't come back up to bug you guys anymore.
Anyone else? Okay. Anything from you? Anything from you?
No, sir.
May I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Hines,
Second.
second by Mayor Pro Tem Hall. Any discussion? Okay, how do you vote?
No.
To close the public hearing?
Yeah.
Don't want a public hearing? Okay.
Close the public hearing.
No to close public hearing?
Yes.
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 Okay, public hearing is closed. All right, the recommendation is action possibly approve the proposed development agreement submitted by Holly Ridge Development LLC. So may I have a motion to approve the agreement pending to that change to 30 years? And may I have a motion to accept the development agreement?
I make a motion that we accept it at the 30 years.
Accept it 30 years. Second by Mayor Pro Tem Hall. Now we go for the discussion. Go ahead.
I'm still not comfortable at 30 years. I'm not comfortable with the 60% roads agreement, and I'm not comfortable with the periodic review. It's too vague. And I agree with Bud that I've been asking for a fiscal impact analysis since August, and this will, as it gets started, impact us immediately. And since we are changing the contract, I'm always against modifying a contract and saying, and voting yes. So this should be tabled. So a new contract should be written up, and we can look at the contract, go through it, and vote on it again at a later time.
I think no matter what it says, Josh is going to say no, so I'm perfectly fine with my motion.
I don't have any comments.
No comments.
No comment.
Okay, it's time for a vote. Based on that one change to the agreement, so may I have a motion to accept? We got the motion, this discussion, so it's time for a vote.
No.
No?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Okay, the motion carries 5-0. We are at the end of our meeting, and may I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Hall.
3-2, Mayor.
Motion to adjourn. Motion.
He's
Bill?
Second.
Second, Councilman Massiano. Any discussions? How do you vote?
Yes.
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 We are adjourned. Thank you all for coming.